Hey guys, so I'm trying something a bit different today. I'm using the front-facing camera instead of the selfie camera because I think that the quality will improve since I am filming on my phone. Anyways, today's topic was also a suggestion from Instagram, that same poll where I asked people what they wanted to see. And this one is from Barbara. I think that's how you pronounce it. Let me know if I'm wrong. But she wanted to know INFJs and INTP, like in a romantic relationship, and kind of what my thoughts were. And just to kind of preface this, I actually let her know, and I'll let you guys know too, from the best of my knowledge, I've never been in a romantic relationship with an INTP. I've had INTP guys like me in the past, but I've never, from what I know, actually been in a relationship with one. I mean, I have been on dates with an INTP, but so I have a very limited personal experience, so I will be solely discussing this kind of from a mechanical / cognitive space, rather than more of a personal space whereas like I've talked about what it's like dating certain personality types in the past. So anyways, I always think about things in terms of, or I guess types in terms of Socionics type relations, and I have to say this, I have to plug this in the video, but with Socionics, if you are new to Socionics, the extroverts are the same in Socionics as MBTI, but the introverts, the P and the J are flipped. And the reason why the P and the J are flipped is in Myers-Briggs, what they use to determine the J or the P is the first extroverted function. So for example, in INFJ, our first extroverted function is extroverted feeling, and extroverted feeling is a judging function. So basically, thinking and feeling functions are judging, and intuitive and sensing functions are perceiving. So in Socionics, INFJs are actually INFPs because our primary function is introverted intuition, which is a perceiving function. And that's why all of the extroverts are the same in Myers-Briggs and in Socionics, because the first extroverted function is also their primary function. So when I'm talking about type relations, as far as INFJs in Myers-Briggs and INTPs in Myers-Briggs, it will be actually INFP in Myers-Briggs, in Socionics, and INTJ in Socionics. So the name of that relationship, and I might not have like the exact name, but it's a benefit relationship, which means that that's one of the asymmetrical relationships. There's symmetrical and asymmetrical relationships, which means, sorry, I keep on saying which means, but it's asymmetrical and symmetrical relationships. So for example, in Socionics, a conflictor relationship, which is your worst relationship. So for example, as an INFP in Socionics, or INFJ, Myers-Briggs, our conflictor would be an ESTJ. So it's the same for ESTJs. In Myers-Briggs Socionics, ESTJs would have the conflictor of an INFP in Socionics, or an INFJ in Myers-Briggs. So that is a balanced relationship, a symmetrical relationship, because it's the same on either side. Whereas INTPs / INTJ in Socionics, or INFJ in Myers-Briggs, INFP in Socionics, that relationship is asymmetrical, meaning that one party benefits more than the other, or one party, is has the upper hand. And I don't really like that term, but it kind of makes sense when we're talking about this relationship. So, as the relationship entails, benefit relationship. So, the INFJ, or INFP in Socionics, is the benefactor to the INTP in Myers-Briggs, the INTJ in Socionics. Meaning that the INTJ in Socionics, or INTP in Myers-Briggs, is the beneficiary. This means that the INFJ, I'm gonna now speak in Myers-Briggs terms. So an INFJ gives more or has more cognitively that it brings to the table than the INTP does in this situation. So it's very interesting because cognitively, INFJs are very good at using extra feeling, whereas if we're thinking in Myers-Briggs terms, INTPs, that's their last function. So they're very good at using introverted thinking and extroverted intuition. So they are just not good at extroverted feeling. And that translates over because oftentimes in this relationship, and this goes for all of the different benefit relationships, it's not the worst relationship. There are other relationships, such as the conflictor or the supervisor and supervisee relationships, that I would say are maybe worse in a way. But it's not, personally, even though I do like INTPs, and actually in this relationship, the benefactor does respect the beneficiary in some way. They see interest in the beneficiary. Whereas in the supervisor and the supervisee relationship, the supervisor may not see what makes the supervisee interesting. And in fact, in this relationship, so INFJs and INTPs tend to get along, and that's kind of across the board, even in Myers-Briggs, where it's sometimes called the golden pair or like a really good relationship, but I would beg to differ on that. I think from what I've seen, the reason why I've never personally been in a romantic relationship with an INTP is maybe because my dad is an INTP, so I've gotten to know INTPs even more than, say, someone that doesn't have a family member that's an INTP, or at least a close family member or friend. And maybe I've kind of seen more of the shortcomings, and I'm not saying that INTPs are less perfect than INFJs in any means. INFJs also have some really bad qualities. All of the types do. But for me, I have kind of seen those shortcomings, and I don't personally, I'm not personally attracted to INTPs in a romantic sense, because I kind of find, I'll just talk about my experience dating an INTP. I mean, it wasn't really even that we were dating. It was one of my friends, and he was pretty adamant about going on a date with me, but the thing is, he was also very indirect about it, and that's something I don't really like, and I think that's kind of a trait that not all INTPs are that way. I think when on the maturity level, there's different maturity levels of each type, and I just found when I've gone on a date with this guy that it was kind of a very one-sided conversation, and it almost felt like I was counseling him the whole time. He was talking about his friend and their situation and all this stuff, and it just didn't feel like a back and forth conversation. Also, INTPs can be very, like, it's interesting because I see, and this is something I think that INFJs respect about INTPs is introverted thinking, which is their primary function, sorry. But this can also come off as cold, but in a different way than like INTJs or INFJs with an I. And also it comes across, I don't know how to describe it. Just trying to think. Like, I have found that INTPs, they, in the past, and I don't want to generalize, but it's going to be kind of a general statement, is that they kind of try to over-explain things. And also in social situations, there are times where it just seems very obvious to me that, you know, what's the right thing to do in a situation, whereas INTJs don't really see that. I mean, INTPs, sorry, don't really see that as easily, and so they kind of can come across as lacking tact. And they also sometimes don't really think about certain things because they're so lost in their minds, but in a different way than INFJs. I think INFJs are lost in their minds, or we're lost in our minds, but we do think about how we're perceived to other people, and we do certain things to combat that. Even if we're not very good at taking care of ourselves, and this is kind of an unhealthy INFJ, I've definitely been there, and I obviously have my moments, but we still remember that, oh yeah, we need to smell good in public and, you know, do our hair and look presentable. Whereas, and I kind of think that this is kind of a good quality of INTPs, but also something that I do not prefer from maybe a partner, is that INTPs just don't either care or don't even think about those things. And when it comes to the way they look or the way they're perceived to others. So I don't know how helpful this video is, and I'm sorry if I offend, because I know that I have a lot of people that are INTPs that watch my videos. I do really like INTPs, but I like them in a friendship setting. And I personally think, and I know I've kind of said that you can get along with any type, I do believe that. And I think that, I mean, besides your conflictor relation, I really wouldn't advocate to date your conflictor or be romantically or even have a close friendship with a conflictor. But as far as the benefit relationship goes, I don't think it's the worst relationship to have. But for me, I'm always seeking balance, and I want to have someone who kind of, there's an even give and take. And I do find with INTPs that they rely on us more so than we rely on them, and that's not something that I find the most preferable in a romantic relationship. So again, I'm not trying to bash INTPs or say that they're lesser, and I would like to hear what you guys think. And again, I've never been actually in a romantic relationship with an INTP, so I have a very limited experience, but this is what I can tell you from knowing the cognitive functions and the relationships, and having friends that are INTPs, and just having, you know, a father that's an INTP and all these other things. So I hope you guys enjoy this video, and please let me know in the comments below what you think, especially if you are either an INTP or an INFJ and you've been in a relationship with the other type. I would like to know what you guys think, and I would also like to know an INTP's perspective on dating an INFJ, and maybe what attracts INTPs to INFJs in that sense, and vice versa. But there's a lot more I can say on this subject, but this will be it for this video. So have an amazing day, and I will see you in my next video. And thank you so much for everybody that has subscribed to my channel for 800 subscribers. That is incredible. I feel like I just had 700 subscribers not too long ago. It really wasn't that too long ago, and it's really awesome, and I love all of you guys. And again, most people are very positive, and if you were in any way offended from this video, I don't mean it in a mean way, and I hope that we can talk about it in the comments. Alright, see you guys later. Bye.